Well, howdy, everyone. This is Dave Cohen on Guitar Tales. We have a cool guest from Austin, Jackie Venson. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, good to be here. How you doing?
Good, thanks. You have any Frito pie out there?
Do I have any Frito pie?
Yeah, my
I
favorite
haven't
thing
had
from
Frito
your
pie in a
town.
while,
No?
but there are a lot of good options for Frito pie here. I'd have to look them up though. You know, the landscape's different after COVID.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I
Yeah,
love, love, love your town. Absolutely love it. It's such
it's
a
a great time.
cool place. It is. It's a great music town and it's a great eating town. But
Hmm.
thank you. I think you're our first Texan on the show. I'm not sure.
Really, that's surprising. There's a lot of Texans out there.
There are a lot. I lived in Houston in 1987, and I like Austin better. Houston was cool, but Austin's a much cooler town.
Houston, you gotta tap into the right places in Houston, and it's really vast. That's the thing
Yeah.
about it. Really, really
I,
vast. But Austin can feel a little small sometimes. So
mhm.
if you need that bigger feeling, then you know you can find it in Houston.
Yeah, that's true. Somewhere there's a picture of me on a one of those mechanical bulls from Austin, literally doing quite poorly at it. I would
Somewhere.
say, but that picture does exist somewhere. So, I have this really cool thing. I printed out your Wikipedia page. And
Hmm.
and, it was such a great cheat sheet for today.
Nice.
You've got a cool career already, and you're young. Like you've already accomplished so much. You
Well,
are,
I've been at it my whole life, so I hope so.
yeah, yeah. You're right, 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 right. So dad, professional musician, mom, a doctor, and mom pushed you to play piano, which is wonderful, right?
Oh yeah.
And
And
then what's the backstory? I read it a bit, but I want to hear the backstory of that occasion when you sort of switched from piano to guitar.
well, it was the end of college, and I hadn't really played the piano much in college. I just used it to do homework. I didn't choose a major that involved performing in
Okay,
college because I didn't think that I needed to spend my college money on learning how to perform. I always thought that you just go out and start performing and then you just learn the ropes as you're doing it.
right,
Uh, I mean, not to knock anyone who decided to be a performance major at Berkeley. I just really wanted like a major that touched on stuff that was really specialized. Like if I'm going to be here and I'm going to be spending all this money and time, you know, being here in Boston, you know, 1,000 miles away from home, I'm going to learn something where that I don't know. I could like, I don't know where else I would learn some of this stuff truly.
yeah,
So
yeah,
like, if I'm going to be here, going to get the most I can out of this specific place. And that was the strategy when I was choosing my major. And I thought that the most like hyper specialized thing that they offered was like studio production, learning how
okay,
to use the studio, how to record, how to mic things, and learning how to like edit afterwards, mixing and all that stuff. And then they also offered like composition and arranging,
oh
learning how to
wow,
write for a 13-piece horn band, learning how to write for a 4-piece barbershop shop quartet, learning how to write a arrange a classical song for a 5-piece rock band.
that's
You know,
really cool.
all
And
of that exactly. I'm like, man, I didn't. First of all, I didn't even know what arranging was. I thought the songwriter thought of the song, and then boom, there's the recording.
yeah,
Like
right,
I didn't realize there's all this stuff between the melody and the chords and the lyrics and then the record. There's like all this stuff in between. And Berkeley was the first time I had ever been turned on to all of that stuff in between. You
right.
know, a lot of connectors happened. I was like, oh, that's why it says composer, and then separately it says arranger. That's why, oh, like it
Did
was
you
like
do
this
that in
huge
class?
moment.
Did you just like make that noise in front of everyone?
Yeah, I was like, oh, it was a long O, you
That's
know,
cool.
a
And
mind blowing, just oh,
the stuff
you
we
know what I
take for
mean?
granted. I'm so dumb at times. I forget how much music goes into the TV shows and movies I
Oh
watch.
my
Like,
god, yeah, that stuff is intricate, man.
yeah, like I take it for granted. Like there's
We all
people,
do.
yeah, right, taking advantage of their creativity, working really hard to help move the story along, and I just watch the show, and I kind of don't
Well, that's
appreciate it.
okay.
Yeah.
that means they're really good at their job. They don't want you to hear the music. They want
Right.
you to feel a certain way because of the music you're hearing. They don't
Right.
want you to hear the music. That means they're not good at their job.
Right. Right. Right.
The music takes the person away from the movie. That means either the person who wrote the music is not good, or the person who mixed the audio is not good, or
Right.
both.
Or you've got
You
a
know,
narcissist composing the music who wants to make it all about
that's a not
themselves.
good that's a not good TV show composer. You need the
Yeah.
TV show composer to be happy with being in the
Yeah.
background. Actually, so much so that they don't want you to hear the music. They just want you to be feeling a certain way. And if you were to analyze how you feel, you would realize that the music's a big part of it. But that's not the point. The
Right.
point is that you feel dread. And all of a sudden, if you're a musician, you'll also hear, and you're like, oh, that's why I feel dread. There's like a Gregorian chant.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
like really dark right now.
Yeah.
But most people don't go that deep. They just feel dread, and that's where it ends because they went to see the movie to be entertained.
And that's right. And that's exactly, you know what it's like? If you're a phlebotomist, you don't want people
Mhm.
feeling the needle when you put it in their arm.
Nope.
You want to get the blood out, call it a day. Right.
And if you're like a surgeon, you don't want someone coming back after
Yeah.
you're done with your surgery 3 or 4 days later because something happened and now you got to go back and redo something. Maybe you left something in there.
Right. Right.
You know, like
Exactly.
that's not a good surgeon. A surgeon you have to go back to,
Right.
with the exception of specialized surgeries. A surgeon you have to go back to is probably not a very good surgeon.
Right. Or to take this to the real extreme level, you don't want your surgeon carving his or her initials into your body when they stitch you up, because it's not
Yeah,
about
actually,
them. It's about the product.
the quality of the surgeon sometimes is measured in the intensity of the scar. Sometimes
Right.
the surgeon's like a part of why one surgeon is better than the other is because their incision point is tiny. It's like, how did you
Right.
do all of that with that incision? Wow, like that's a great surgeon right there, you know.
Exactly. Right. Right. So yeah, like
Sometimes.
people use the word surgeon in that context like an adjective, like
Yeah.
surgical precision. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Yeah.
they do. Exactly. They use it to talk about something that might not even have anything to do with surgery. That's how, well known of a quality that is.
Yeah. I
So
heard
much so
Jack.
that we use it to describe a lot of things.
Yeah, I heard Jackie Venson is so good at guitar. Her leads are like surgical precision.
Actually,
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest that I would consider that a compliment, but an inaccurate compliment.
Right. You
I
want to
don't
be
think
looser. Yeah.
I don't think I'm a surgically precise player. I think I'm more of like a off the cusp, however I'm feeling right in that moment. I might be having clammy hands that day, so I'm just holding notes.
Right.
Just
Yeah. And
holding
I've watched your videos. They're great. And that would not really be the. I mean, you don't even aspire to that. You wouldn't
That's not
want
my
that.
style. I mean, there are
Yeah.
some people who are surgically precise when they play, like Joe Bonamassa or Eric Ailes.
Yeah.
Like, those people are like, whoa. But then there are people who are also like, they're like, whoa, but in this different way, to where
Yeah.
it's almost like they're lightning in a bottle and they never sound the same. And like,
Yeah.
you can't predict what they're going to do. And I feel like Buddy Guy is that way. You never
Yeah.
know how that guy is going to sound, man.
Right.
You only know how he's going to sound the moment he starts sounding.
Right.
And
Right.
it could be his best day. It could be his worst day. Either way, he doesn't give a shit. He's just
Right.
playing. And like, I love that because
Yeah.
I came from classical piano, and
Yeah.
classical piano was like, you're not playing the song right. You missed 5 notes and you didn't hold that rest long enough. And I'm like, hey, so how did it sound though? Like, did it make you feel good? Was it nice for you? And they're like, well, you missed 5 notes and you didn't hold that rest out long enough. I'm like, okay, I can't do this.
Yeah. And that's this is you just gave the great segue. So set up the scene for us, and whether it was like a slow decision or like a snap decision when you picked up guitar. Was it in 2011? Right.
Okay, so it was like this. It was like standing at an intersection of like 5 different realizations.
Okay.
So
Let's hear it.
one of it was like a 5-way intersection of realization. So one realization was, okay, college is over and you're 21 and you're not old. Like, you could get away with living with your mom for a while, but like, you got to have a direction, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
okay to like rely on your parents because you don't really have a lot going on. But it's not okay to, I don't think it's okay to do that without any idea of a direction. Like you need to be trying something. You can't just like, unless you're caretaking for your parents, that's a real job.
Right.
You know, like you can't just like sit at home and be that kid that sits at home and screams at his mom to make him some meatloaf. You can't be that
Yeah.
person, okay?
While playing video games.
Yeah, while playing video games and you're not even like, you have no idea what you want to do with your life. Like there are a few exceptions where it's okay to be that person. I don't want to be that person. I always want to feel like I'm going in a direction, like my life is going somewhere. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
And like,
absolutely.
and I don't need to feel that way because I'm like trying to be some millionaire or whatever. I just need something to do. Like when I open my eyes in the morning, all the infinite possibilities of lives, I need to narrow it down.
So,
Do you know
this
what I
is
mean?
I do. So you're at this
That's one
five-way
realization.
You're right. So you've got so that 1 out of 5. So let's hear about the other four-ish at
Okay.
your intersection.
Another realization was I definitely want to perform. I want to perform. I want to be the front person of a project, and I want to perform. Like, and I want to like be able to operate independently of a band or have a band also. I don't want to be held back by like, oh, I can't get these 5 people together. So that narrows down like the instrument I'm going to be playing as the front person, because like it was default I got to be playing an instrument, right?
Yeah.
I got to be playing an instrument. If I want to be able to operate independently, I got to be able to accompany myself on something to take solo gigs, right? So that was the second realization. I'm going to be playing an instrument and singing. I want to be the front woman of a project. I really like the hours. I really like the money for the amount of hours.
Yeah.
You know, like
by hours you mean late hours, not.
Yes, the schedule. Like you don't have to wake up early to go do this job. Like I know I have the first realization leads me to I need a job, right?
Yeah, right.
The second realization is I want that job to be somehow leading some kind of music project, whether it be a cover band or I hosted karaoke for a while.
Oh,
I
really?
should be able to like, yes, I can provide entertainment for your event. This is my rate. Like that's the job. That's the job.
And you feel good. You're being productive. You're entertaining people.
I have an idea. When I tell my mom I need to live with her for at least a year, I'll tell her what my idea is. I'm going to live with you for a year and go try to build this client list of people who hire me to perform.
Right.
That's all I was thinking about. I hadn't written any songs. I hardly even knew how to play the guitar yet.
Right.
A lot of my early gigs were on the piano, singing with a wedding band. So no playing, no instruments, just singing with a wedding band, or playing the piano and accompany myself. These were all, hosting karaoke, hosting open mics. Those were a lot of my very early jobs when I got home and didn't know how to play the guitar. Right.
Now, is this when you were Jackie the Robot? I had to look at my notes.
No, Jackie the Robot's brand new.
All right, so we'll come to that. All right, we'll come to that.
All right. A whole different thing. We'll come back to that.
Yeah. So we're still at our intersection. So let's talk about the other.
Third realization was I don't like how my songs that I write sound on the piano. All of my songs that I write on the piano are sappy and ballady, and I don't know how to change that. I don't know how to write anything rhythmic and upbeat that doesn't sound like forced.
Walking on sunshine or
like some stupid. I'm like, no, I want this to sound like a real song. Like the people I really look up to, like Stevie Wonder. Like his songs sound like they're like aural beings. They're not just like some words that he threw down. Like they're arranged, they're thought out. The melodies are really like standalone. The horn arrangements, it's like a complete masterful thing that like has existed on its own now and has legs. And it does work for Stevie Wonder without Stevie Wonder even doing anything. He's still getting paid off of songs he wrote and recorded 50 years ago. Right.
And you, for whatever reason, piano wasn't the vehicle for you to get that done.
I could not get that kind of song out of the piano. I could maybe like one out of every like 100 songs I wrote were really good songs, but still slow.
Okay,
and sappy and theatrical. And I didn't know how to change it. I tried to start a band with that kind of music. It was just the gigs. People just wouldn't listen. You know, like everybody, like, when you know how to read a crowd,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would play
yeah.
these gigs on the piano and I'd be like, they
Is
don't
it?
want to hear this. And it's not their fault.
Yeah,
Like, I came here with this material and started playing it, and this is their natural, completely true, unadulterated, 100% the truth. This is how they feel about it. They're showing you
yeah,
how they feel about it without throwing tomatoes at you. You should be grateful that you're getting this information, right?
yeah, yeah. And is
So
it
I'm getting this raw information, playing the piano and singing for people, and I'm like, so that was a third realization. Like, it's not happening for me on the piano.
all
It's
right,
not. And I'm
right?
not excited about gigs on the piano. So then I'm like, okay, I took those three realizations, right? And then I get to a fourth one. I'm like, here's the fourth realization. It's never too late.
Oh, I
It's
like
never too
that.
late to change your life. You have a supportive family, and your mom, like, as long as you find some kind of way to hustle up some money, if you want to change your life in a really big way, you can deal with that change as you're scraping together this money, and it'll be a transitional process and it'll be okay.
All
You know?
right, so then we got four. I like that one a lot, and you're talking to an old fart right now. And
Yeah.
the idea, and I'm a fan of that. I've reinvented many things many times, even past
Yeah,
the
it's
age
never
of
too
50.
late. I mean, you're just gonna die one day. So, like, why
Yeah,
would you? It's too late. Too late for what? Okay, you're gonna die one day, but you're not dead yet. So what do you
yeah,
mean it's too late?
right. I
No, it's
completely
too
agree.
late when you're dead.
And
And so
it's almost it's a real depressing thought that whether you're 21, hey, I'm done with college, I can't change because I focused on piano in college, or whether
yeah,
you're 40 or
exactly.
50 or 60, and we could hop on Wikipedia and find all sorts of people who reinvented themselves.
At 60, and they in the
Yeah,
last quarter or whatever of their life was amazing. And so, like,
yeah.
yes, it was worth it. 100%, it was worth it.
Well, let me
Like,
ask you,
like
yeah,
you can regret all the time that you didn't do it, or you can start doing it and gain all this time that you did it.
right. And there's something, we had this guy Vic Ramos on, who's just a wonderfully eccentric guy who acts, he sings, builds guitars, and he cooks, like just all sorts of
Nice.
stuff. But one of the things I asked him about, and I've asked other folks about, we had Kenny Dubman, who stopped playing guitar and fished for 10 years, and then went back to guitar, which I
Great.
think is cool, right? And
Good for him.
when you switch, I think what happens, I've had this theory, and I like to always run it by people, and you're younger than most for this issue. I think for a lot of folks, the muse stops talking to them after a certain period of time. But I've also sensed with our guests that when they switch medium, they're still doing something in the creative realm, and they
Yeah,
switch the vehicle they use. It sort of re-energizes their creative juices. I don't know.
absolutely.
Yeah, you were a kid when you did it at 21, but did you feel a little bit of that when you went from piano to guitar?
I was stoked. Okay, so check it out. So the fifth and final realization
Yeah.
was, um, I have, like, good ideas have lonely childhoods, and combine that with, I have a support system.
Good
So this,
ideas of lonely childhoods.
yeah, but I have a support system. So
Yeah.
basically, the fifth realization is this is going to take time to make sense to anybody else but you. It's going
Right.
to take time. But if you set yourself up, either you can be your own support system, or if you have a great support system around you, they're going to trust you. It's
Right.
just that you got to work really hard. You got to, like, show them that you're really going after it. So, like, I would
Right.
practice for like 6 hours a day ever since day one. Day one.
That's
I went
great.
and I went to Guitar Center with my dad, and we bought a guitar because I had him help me pick it out. He's like, you got to make sure the neck's right and all this stuff. I didn't know anything about it. And my dad plays bass. So my dad was like, I'll just come with you.
Right.
And me and my dad bought my first guitar. And
When you get
I got a Fender Mexi Strat. It was
okay.
awesome.
Oh, cool. Cool.
It was awesome. I'm convinced that it doesn't really matter where the guitar is made. It matters the individual guitar.
Yes.
Each individual guitar has the potential to be the greatest guitar you've ever touched. And
It
it doesn't
does.
matter the brand.
I had a
You can,
post CVS 78 Strat.
yeah.
When people would play it, they would say it was the best Strat they ever played.
What I'm trying to say is
Yeah.
it can literally be a brand that you've seen. Let's say this one brand, you've seen 50 guitars by this brand and it's horrible. or maybe even 500 guitars by this brand. It's horrible. I promise you, there's one out there by that brand. That's amazing. Because the one person who made that one guitar, they just cared a little bit more than the rest of those 500 people.
Right. That's very cool. And it's true. You know, you could go to Guitar Center and look at the exact same model on the rack. They're right next to each other, and this one is 1,000 times better than this one.
Yeah, and you haven't even looked at the price yet.
Right. It could even be the same price. It could be the exact same model, the same price.
Be, exactly. The same model, same price. You're right. And one is better than the other, or they both suck. Yeah. And you wouldn't pay $1,000 for either of them. Right. Even if you had the money to like just throw away, still wouldn't buy it. And it's like supposed to be a Fender American, you know, like. Yeah. No, I played plenty of terrible Fender American Strats, and I played terrible Squier Strats, and I've played amazing Fender American Strats, and I've played amazing Squier Strats. So like, it's the individual guitar. It really, really, really is. Yeah. And so me and Dad got me my first guitar, the Sunburst Gold Hardware, Rosewood Neck, Fender Mexi Strat, and it was awesome. That's and I learned how to play the guitar on that guitar. And I ended up selling it for a green Strat that I just fell in love with, and I needed help paying for it, so I sold that one. I still have the green Strat. Most of my like press photos and gigs and all that stuff that I built early on is with that green Strat.
I love green guitars. Our publicist has this guitar called the Ivy, on his website, Guitar Assist. It's really cool. And at some point, I'm buying an Ivy for myself, just because the idea of a green guitar is very cool.
Hell yeah, sounds good, man.
Yeah, it's all good stuff. So you do that. So let's fast forward.
So then.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, go on. I can. Yeah. So it's like all these 5 realizations lead to I don't like how my songs sound on the piano. I don't like my performance persona on the piano. I tried to play gigs on the piano for like 7 years, ever since high school. Wow. Okay. I started like playing like weird little matinee gigs at hotels and stuff that I got on Craigslist by the time I was like 17. And so I really did try the piano thing, and it was just way too loungy, and I hated it. And I'm like, so you want to be a performer, an artist, that means you need to build this entire thing that you want around like a foundational thing that everybody wants to see. Like that's all the most successful performers in history did that. They had this thing that they did that everybody wanted to see them do that thing, because when they do that thing, it's different than when anybody else does whatever thing they did. Yeah. This person doing this thing is like the thing that I want to see. So for example, Michael Jackson dancing / specifically the moonwalk, right? Right. Michael Jackson's like, okay, people love his music, right? That's not why they go for the shows. No, they go to the shows and they watch the videos and they love the songs because they can try to do that thing that he did while the song is going in the club. You know, like that's what they wanted from him. They want to see him dance, and they want to see him do the moonwalk. Yeah. And then also he had great songs, so they want to see him sing those songs.
You need that at the very least. You need the great music.
You don't always need the great songs. Sometimes you can have like really cool dance moves and really great costumes, and sometimes that's enough. You know, it's everybody's thing is very subjective. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So let's talk about your thing. So how did you search for it?
Well, I'm like, okay, I saw it as you asked if I had like these cool creative juices that like rejuvenated me. What was cool was these 5 realizations leading me to this analytical period where I felt like I was looking at my own life as a blank canvas, and I was able to literally, like, with my own hands, not with the help of my parents or not me trying to copy somebody else. I felt like I was looking at this canvas, and I felt like I was like this age where I wasn't old. And I thought, and it was exciting. Yeah. It was exciting.
Now,
and I'm not saying that it's like, it's not like bad to be old. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like, I'm only 21 and I feel like I'm looking at this canvas, and even if it takes me 10 years, then I'll only be 31. Yeah. Mm-hmm. By the way, I am 31 right now, which is freaky.
I know that from this.
But anyways.
I studied you. Right here.
What I'm trying to say is like, I got excited by like, I didn't give a shit about how
Yeah.
much work it was going to be. I didn't care. I'm like, look, there's no way it's going to take longer than 10 years if I put as much work into it as I plan on putting into it. So
Right.
this is exciting. Even though it's like a lot of people get overwhelmed, no. If I'm going to be alive for at least the next 10 years, this is exciting.
Yeah. Did you
I don't
know that
care
it
how
was
hard it's going to be.
in your mind? Had you identified those 5 things, or was it more general back then? When did you figure out it was 5 things?
It was all of those. I figured it out in the moment. I mean, it wasn't like I woke up one day and was like, all right, there are 5 things that you need to analyze in
Right.
your life. Like, no, I just was mentally kind of like vision boarding.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
I vision boarded. Vision
Yeah,
boarding is good.
that's fantastic. And what's really cool, 21's a great age to take
Yeah.
stock of your life, take stock of your goals. Where do I
And
want to
just
be?
blow
Where,
everything up. My
yeah,
parents are still
absolutely.
alive. They're able to still help me. If I fall, I still have a little bit of a cushion.
Yeah.
You know, like I saw it for what it was. I saw the time in my life for what it was. I wasn't like beholden to some idea like I needed to be some child prodigy. I
Right.
saw like I need to be famous by the time I'm 23 or else I'm never gonna make it. Like some people really think like that, and like it's
Yeah.
insane, by the way, because 23 is like you're like an infant.
Absolutely.
So it's
Yeah.
really crazy to think that you have to achieve anything by 23. That's insane.
Very few of us do. I mean, people, some do.
Nobody does, and the ones that do, some of them are very troubled.
Yeah. Well, that's definitional. Absolutely.
Very.
Did it almost feel like an out of body experience, like you stepped out of yourself and then you were
Yes.
looking at yourself objectively? That's
Well,
pretty
because
cool.
because I saw it as a problem. It was causing me anxiety. I'm like, what am I gonna do when I go home? I'm not just gonna be like the rest of the people who never left town. Like, just all right. I guess I got my job, and now we go drink on Fridays.
Right.
Like, no. I don't care how much work I'm gonna have to do. At least I'm going to be doing work instead of just like
Yeah.
rotting in place.
Well, that's another common theme I'm getting from everyone. And I've learned it in my personal, professional life. I don't know that I've ever met anyone who has achieved real success without real effort.
Oh
Like,
yeah, wait,
yeah.
no,
I mean, I don't care what your natural level of talent is.
no way.
Everyone
Yeah.
I know in music, I'm a lawyer, in the
It
law.
dominates their whole life. The more
Yes.
successful they are, the more life it takes from them.
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
let's say they're awake for 13 hours a day. The more successful they are, the amount of time they spend in that 13 hours working. Yeah, actually, probably a truly successful person is probably awake for like 17 hours a day.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And they spend 15 of it doing whatever it is that makes them successful.
Yep. Fully agreed. Personally, and from people I've just met over my many, many years on this planet. And I really believe that. And I think it leads to a satisfying existence.
Yes, exactly. And that's all I
Yeah.
wanted. I wanted to go home and have a direction. It's almost like being a kid. Like kids who are in routines, they do better,
Right.
And I'm talking about like young kids, like under the age of like, 10 or something.
Yep.
Like young kids who are on routines, they do better. It's same with like dogs.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same with adult humans. I'm like, look, I need some structure to my life. I'm not going to be in school anymore. I'm never going to be in school again. So now what am I going to do with that energy that I put into school? It's like, okay, I don't want to put it into a 9 to 5 because they don't pay very well. And also I'm probably going to hate the person who's my boss. I don't want a boss. I don't like bosses. I don't like bosses. So I'm like, if I don't
wait, hold on. What do you think about how do you feel about bosses?
I don't like bosses. I think most of them are not qualified. And so it's like,
absolutely.
How dare you talk to me like that? I don't care that you make $5 more an hour than me. How dare you talk to me like that? How dare you sit here and act like you're better than me just because you make a few more dollars than I do? No.
Insecurity. It's insecurity talking.
I don't like bosses, and I don't like that mentality of like, I'm the boss. It's like, look, if everything around here is sucking and the morale of your employees suck, that means you suck.
Yeah, the best people I've worked with over the years never say you worked for me. They say you work with me, or I
With me.
work with you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So
yeah.
I don't like bosses. And
You're being really unclear right now on your feelings
I
for the
like
boss. You just,
I
I
like
don't know what you're
teams.
saying.
I like teams. I like it
Absolutely.
when
Yeah.
everybody has a lane and they are everybody's the boss, but they're only the
Yes.
boss of their lane.
Yep. Yep.
Some of them might have one or two lanes. That's cool too. Some people are
Yep.
very smart and capable, so they can be the boss of more than one lane. But that's how I prefer to do my work. So that's how I knew I wanted to be the leader of a band, either a cover
Right.
band or a band that makes original music, maybe a cover band at first and then start, slowly. That's what I did. I started being like doing karaoke and open mics and doing covers and stuff. And then over time, as I started collecting more material, I would replace the covers. Now I don't do covers at all because I have a lot of songs.
Yeah,
But that
it's
took years.
and I saw you've had some besides your albums, which we could chat about. You've opened. I'm cheating a little bit. I put the piece of paper right down here below my computer. I won't pretend I memorized it. But you've opened for I'm very authentic. But you've opened for Jason Aldean, Tim McGraw, and James Taylor. And what an amazing set of accomplishments, separate from your own studio albums. Like that's a big deal. To get.
Well, yeah, it led me to some fans, so that's good.
Yeah, it's amazing, and those
Yeah,
are discerning fans who, those are all very really talented folks.
indeed.
And for
And
you to,
also folks who have fans that really love the songs, and so like it's the type of audience you want, where they come to hear the
yeah,
songs that they listen to on their own. Not everybody just listens to music, so
no,
you have to find. That's why those opportunities actually mean something, because
yeah,
those people listen to those artists' music and have for years, which
yep,
means that they have that within their list of behaviors.
right,
And so,
right,
as an artist who does original music, you want to play in front of people whose behavior is to listen to music on their own time, learn it, get attached to it, and then come want to see it live. Like that's the exactly kind of person you want to target.
yeah,
So,
because those three
opening for artists like
people,
that, yeah,
they're all people who've made their careers. Those three folks, Jason Aldean, Tim
on
McGraw,
their
and
own
James
music.
Taylor. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and quality writing that's meaningful. You
yeah.
know. And so yeah, for you to introduce your brand to them, that's the perfect audience for you because they appreciate what you work toward, what you strive to accomplish.
Well, they've stuck with me ever since they saw me there. So
That's fantastic, and
it
that's gotta,
all worked out really excellently, and I
and that's
appreciate.
got to be hard, right? So they didn't come there to see you yet, right? Anyone
It.
who's seeing you for the first time, they've come to see someone else. Like, all right, let me
Yep.
see who the opening act is, and so that's a different level of responsibility, right? For
it's
you.
it's the perfect amount of responsibility.
Okay.
It's the least amount of responsibility I'm ever going to have in my life. And the longer I'm alive, that low level of responsibility,
Right.
uh, or lower level of responsibility relative to when somebody is coming to see an artist who they've listened to for 40 years and they actually
Yeah.
probably know the words better than you.
Right. Right. Right.
That's a pretty high level of responsibility.
Right. Because James Taylor's been around probably for 50 years performing.
Yes, some
Tim
of these
McGraw.
artists, they use teleprompters literally so that they don't forget their own lyrics, because maybe they have like, oh, I don't know, 200 songs.
Yeah.
And
And
so they use teleprompters because the people in the audience also paid like $115
yeah. Yeah.
each. And so there's not really any room for like, oh, dead dodo brain. There's no room in that ticket price for dodo brain.
That's
So a
right.
lot of these really big artists, they use teleprompters for their lyrics.
That's something. Yeah. Have
Mhm.
you had any interactions with any of them? Like, or
No.
would you?
Oh, hell no.
No.
No way.
That's funny. That's right.
No.
Hey, there's no opportune time to do it. So a funny little thing. So when you
Huh.
and I we were setting up before we went on, you went out to get your buy drink, and I'm
Yep.
looking behind you, and I just thought this would be funny.
Yeah.
I don't play piano, but I'm looking at the keyboard behind you. This
Yeah.
thing is this is probably 15 years older than you.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
It's a crappy Casio.
It's
that
smaller
has.
than mine. Mine's a little more. I'm just saying, it's more compact than mine. I'm impressed.
Well, this is junk. It's literal junk. But our publicist and I, when we were in a band together in 1982 or three,
Hmm.
1981 and 1982, he would play this sometimes, and
I mean, if it sounds like something and that sound can't be recreated, then it's its own thing.
it's kind of,
Doesn't
yeah,
matter
it
how
is
much it
kind of
costs.
cool. And you cannot play a chord. You can only play one note at a time on it.
Good.
That's
True
a,
synthesizer.
but if you look here, it's got it's a sampler from 1980, so you can actually like talk
Wow.
into it and play it on the keyboard, you know. But
Wow.
so I saw your. I know that's a real keyboard, and this is plastic junk. But I just thought it'd be funny
It
for a
might
man in the
not be
basement.
junk, man. I mean, it might sound really
Well, it's
good.
wonderful junk. It's
Might
wonderful
might be
junk.
the thing that breaks the album. That's all I gotta say.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, you look. I always like to talk about the fact that way back in the day, to get really good distortion, the Kinks would take a razor blade to the speakers to
There you
create
go.
distortion. You know, that they didn't
Yeah.
pay any money for that. They did the opposite of pay
There.
money.
Well, actually, they did. They did pay
Yeah,
money for
right,
that.
right.
We all
Yeah,
found out years and years and
right.
years later when we all found out how record deals work. But yeah, they did pay for that for sure.
That's very true. It's very true.
100%.
Yeah. So let's talk about your studio albums. Talk about the process, what you put out, and all that kind of interesting stuff.
Well, I use a sampler. So it's funny you brought up the sampler. So I
Right.
use a Pioneer's Terise sampler, Pioneer DJ. It's a DJ sampler, and
Oh,
it
really?
has 16 tracks that you can put sounds on, and
Okay.
each can be individually manipulated. So you can mute one, you can turn it down, you can put compression or effects on each individual track of the sampler. So what I do is that's how I arrange my songs. So
That's
like
cool.
if I want to write a new song, I go into my beat library of like 10,000 beats that you can just get from the internet.
Right,
And
right.
I find a beat that I like, and then I just start kind of building the song from there. Because I really like songs with beats because of my, one of the five realizations, one of the five pillars. I hated how
Yeah.
sappy and slow my other music was. And so now I'm like, okay, beats are life, beats only, beats. Like I'm all about beats.
Right. Now, so
And so, yeah, I want to avoid the sappiness.
yeah.
And I want people to like listen. And I'm telling you, if you get a solid beat, people are just like,
Yeah. I'm
like as soon as
thinking
you start the beat, they're like drinking, they're getting something in the bar, and they're like,
the second you said that, another one bites the dust popped to my head. Like
Billie
this.
Jean,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now that's in
um,
my head.
any
Yeah.
Aerosmith or AC/DC song,
Yeah.
like listen to anyone. Even the
Yeah.
slow, sappy ones are like do do but do boo boo. Like even the slow, sappy ones, like I don't want to miss a thing. That has a pretty heavy rock beat in it, actually.
Yeah. It does. Yeah.
So even their slow, sappy songs have heavy beats, and
Yeah.
that's
They didn't lose their man card when they
yeah,
wrote
that's
those slow sappy songs. You know.
exactly, and that's the influence of rock and hip hop on just everyone. It's
Yeah.
just permeating, and
Yeah.
like all music after like 1940 is
Yep.
just like they all have one thing in common, and it's beats.
Now, do you
You know?
think? Yeah. Do you feel like when you switch from piano to guitar that, and any real piano player would yell at me, but including you maybe, but I feel like guitar has more percussive capabilities than a piano. Is that one of the things that attracted you to the guitar? Because your
You mean
fingers are.
like you mean like the electric guitar versus the acoustic piano? Because we have to
Yeah.
clarify exactly what type
Yes.
of keyboard instrument we're
Exactly.
talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah, the acoustic piano. Okay, so let's put them on the same playing field. The acoustic piano and the acoustic guitar.
Okay.
Absolutely, the guitar is way more percussive. Not that you can't be some kind of genius like Ben Folds and learn how
Right.
to do beats on the piano as you're playing.
Right.
It's not gonna be as like thumpy and like
Hmm.
as like the subdivisions aren't going to be like as crisp, and the thump isn't gonna be as thumpy as if you were to beat in an acoustic guitar,
Right.
especially a direct in acoustic guitar. If you were to beat it and play beats on it and do those notes, like that's like a whole genre of like
Right.
acoustic guitar players who like play these instrumental alternate tuning opuses, and they do beats on this at the same time, and they
Yep.
do like
I've
a
seen
bunch of
that.
harmonizing and then
Yeah.
harmonics, and
Yep.
they like
Yep.
they literally like it sounds like a literal cajon.
Yeah.
And there are some people who have gone that direction on the piano, but it's not the same.
I always felt like, and I always like to clarify and qualify that I'm not a good guitar player, so I don't want to put myself on that level. But I love the guitar, and so I feel like one of the differences is that the guitar doesn't have a middleman between your fingers and the strings. The
Well, that's
piano.
what I think about the really creative piano players. The really
Yeah,
creative players, they open the lid of the piano
yeah,
and they
and it could
pull that
go
stuff.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but this is this is built on the assumption that there's a literal grand piano with a lid at this gig.
you're right, right, right. Yeah, and with the
You
guitar.
definitely can't do any of this shit with a keyboard, a digital piano. No way.
Right, right, right. And it's like there's a guy I saw out of Australia who's got I don't know if it's a Hammond, but he's got the whammy on it,
Oh, a Hammond? Oh,
and
okay.
he does
You
some
just
crazy
switched the
shit
whole
on that.
conversation, and we're not talking about Hammond organ.
I know, and
We were
and this,
talking. No, that is that's the first synthesizer that was ever invented.
yeah, I know,
The very
and
first like keyboard synthesizer ever in human history was the Hammond organ. So
yeah,
like that thing is amazing.
it's a monster.
It is just as percussive. It is literally the only keyboard instrument that stands up to the electric guitar.
Yeah,
It's
I would,
just as percussive.
yeah,
It's got huge range. You can do that thing, that bubble. It's literally
yeah,
it's the exact amount of percussion
yeah,
capabilities if you learn how to play it correctly.
yeah,
And also it has the same amount of like unlimited different tones.
yeah,
So like
yeah,
if
yeah,
leads and you want to switch to a different pickup to make that lead scream a little bit more, you can do the same exact thing with the drawbars on the
yeah.
Hammond. And then
It,
here's where the Hammond one ups the electric guitar. The freaking bass feet piano
oh,
pedals.
that's
You can
true.
do all
Yeah,
of it. So you are literally three people.
yeah,
In the left hand, you can play the rhythmic percussive rhythm part. In the
yeah.
right hand, on a separate tier of keyboard, you can do leads. And
Right.
the leads are like real because you're doing the bars and you're doing the volume pedal, right? And you're doing the Leslie intensity. And
Yeah, yeah,
then
yeah.
your feet, you can play the freaking bass line.
Yeah, well, you make me think of Geddy Lee, who does that. Except when he does it, he's got a bass in his hand, and
Oh, and he's playing.
he's playing with one hand, and he's got this hand on the keyboard, and then he's got his foot on the keyboard. If you've ever seen that, and he's singing. Which,
Dude, if I
yeah,
ever played if I ever learned another instrument, it's going to be the Hammond organ because I'm already halfway there because of the fact that I play the piano. So I'm already halfway there.
when we're done tonight, I'm going to send you this video I have on YouTube. I have to find it. The name of the song is "The Only Cure for the Blues is the Blues." Like it's a little word play.
Nice.
And it's some band which I was positive was from the American South, and they're from Australia. Just everything about them screamed this country. And what this guy does on the Hammond with the whammy, it's you're right. It's the guitar and then some. And
I'm serious. It's the only instrument, the only
yeah,
like lead instrument I think that can stand up to the guitar. Because the other famous lead instruments, a lot of them are horns, and horns can't play chords.
right.
So automatic, like, boom, you've halved your capabilities. Your ceiling is lower.
Yeah.
Because you can't play chords. You always have to get other people to play the music for you, or you got to get real good with those tracks and make it not cheap.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of the lead instruments don't have the chord in the full range of the like scale range, right?
Yeah.
But the piano has a way bigger scale range, but the acoustic piano has less tonal and percussive options. Mm-hmm. And so honestly, the only instrument that had one-ups the electric guitar is the Hammond organ, which is crazy because the Hammond organ was invented like 80 years before the electric guitar.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
It was invented in the 1800s, dude.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing, and even just saying the name, it's just everyone knows the Hammond organ.
Oh, it's excellent. It's an
Yeah,
excellent freaking instrument. It's the only instrument I would switch to from the electric guitar.
right. And you know how to play it, so it's
I know how
easy.
to play the keys. I know how to
Right,
play the keys. I
right.
do
You don't know
not
that. You don't
know
know
how
the
to play
Hammond.
the Hammond organ.
You
No,
can
the
figure that
Hammond organ,
out.
like half of the Hammond organ is knowing how to play the piano, right? And
Yeah.
the other half of it is specifically knowing the exact amount of capabilities from the organ itself and knowing how to achieve them. So it's like,
I
I want this sound. I know exactly what I have to do to get that sound.
so I
And there's a lot you have to do sometimes. There's like 16 drawbars at least.
we had um we had a musician on it. I want to say it was John D. Nicola. He had us either on his iPhone or his iPad. We went through his barn, and we were just looking. He had an old Leslie speaker. He had everything, and I think he gave in his
Nice.
tour. I think we had a Hammond in there too, which was pretty
Nice.
cool. Yeah, but he had like a 19 whatever, like 62 restored Leslie cabinet, which was pretty cool. But yeah, the Hammond is just as iconic as that.
It's like a whole world, man. If I
Yeah.
if I learn how to play another instrument, that is going to be the instrument I learn how to play.
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do this show if I'm still kicking. When you hit those 5 different areas, you have to look at when you're 61. Uh,
Yeah.
then that's when you're gonna switch to the Hammond. You're gonna do guitar for 30 more years, right? And then
No,
when
I
you're
think the Hammond's
61,
gonna be 41.
all right. Well, then I'll probably there's a higher likelihood that I'm still on this planet at that
Yeah, I was
point.
thinking my 40s could, my 20s was the guitar, my
Yeah.
30s is probably gonna be the guitar, and then I think my 40s will be the Hammond organ.
All right. So we'll do a guitar tales, and we have it scheduled now in 10 years from tonight.
All
We'll
right.
get you that. Now,
Perfect.
now let me do this before I'm looking at. I'm looking at the clock. I love the shows. Which in all candor, most of our shows when the time flies. We've been chatting for almost an hour already,
Wow.
and yeah, and because it's fun, it's relaxing, it's fun. But I want to talk about, and again, I have to cheat. I always like to say when I'm cheating, Jackie the robot. What the hell is Jackie the robot? And let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so Jackie the Robot's a different intersection.
Okay, let's talk about that intersection.
So intersection number one, I've always wanted to be a DJ.
Okay.
I see it as like the coolest, also like the most creative without um the blocks of like learning curves.
Mhm.
Learning how to play any instrument is extremely difficult. Like
Yeah.
any instrument to the point where whatever you think you can get out. Like you think it and it's an idea in your brain and nobody can hear it but you, and you pick up that instrument and you can just play it, whatever it is. That takes decades,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to have fun.
Right. 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 Right.
Sometimes you just want to be like, I wonder what this would sound like if I did this and this and that. And that's what DJs get to do. And I'm not saying
Right.
that there's no skill in DJing. There's like a lot of like individual DJ skills that you do have to develop, but it's less nuanced than like learning how to move your hands within inches and like hold down a bar chord. It took me like 8 months to learn how to hold down a bar chord. Are you serious? You know
Yep.
how much I could do with DJing in 8 months?
Right. Right. And
Okay,
do
so
you?
check it out. Check it out.
Okay.
Imagine two parallel videos. One
Yeah.
of them, I'm working up my DJing skills. So scratching, all that stuff, all the different types of effects and knowing when to use them, lining up the songs the right way with the right beats, making sure that the music is lining up with the voice well enough to where the melody isn't clashing with the music. All of that stuff is stuff that's nuanced, that's challenging, that DJs have to learn how to do. But I feel like I could do that in 8 months. Whereas
Right.
learning how to play the guitar like Eddie Van Halen, can you even play a chord?
Right.
Okay, good luck learning how to play just a chord.
Yep.
Okay, it's been 8 months and you've learned how to play a chord.
Yeah. The bar.
Cool.
I can still remember. I had a girl from Hazlitt, New Jersey, taught me bar chords. I didn't even know they existed. Yeah, and that's really hard. It's
It's
really.
really hard. You have to
Yeah.
develop muscles that your fingers probably never prior to that ever
Mhm.
used. And
Yeah.
so it isn't me like saying that like DJs don't have to work as hard.
But it's a
It's me
different thing.
saying that the type of work that they have to do is way more fun. Like
Yeah.
just playing a beat and then working on lining stuff up with that beat, that is way more fun than building a callus that hurts so bad every time you try to practice the guitar.
Yeah.
You have to experience like callus pain for like a year and a half before you're like, oh, it's not that the pain isn't there, it's that I don't feel it
Right.
anymore.
And finally,
You know,
your
like,
string isn't buzzing anymore.
yes,
Finally, year
exactly.
end. Yeah.
After a year and a half, it took me 1 year to be able to play for 30 minutes without my hands fatiguing so much that I had to take a 15-minute break.
Right. Right. So where have you been doing your DJing work,
So
Jackie
that's the
Gorilla?
first, yeah, that was the first intersection. DJs have more fun. They just do.
Right.
It's not that they don't work as hard. It's just that they have more fun. Instrument players,
Oh.
we're all weird. We're all like borderline, like most of us are like drug addicts. Most of us are like,
Right.
okay, I gotta go practice bar chords for 6 hours and then I could maybe play one song at the end of it.
Right.
Like we're all losing our freaking minds. They call it the woodshed. Yeah, we all locked ourselves in the woodshed for 10 years just so that we could play Britney Spears Toxic at a
Right.
wedding.
Right.
It's like, meanwhile, the DJ's over there blending Britney Spears Toxic into a Stevie Wonder song, getting out of that, going into a Paul Wall song. Meanwhile, the DJ's over there like, waka, waka, wah, waka, waka, wah, and we're all just like, so anyway, DJs have more fun. Thing number two, Jackie Venson, the project is really locked down. It has a team. In order to operate the way it does, it needs to have a team. And the people on that team need to get paid. And so the only way that the people get paid is any money that that project makes gets split up into whatever percentage we agreed that they would get paid. So the agent gets a piece, the lawyer gets a piece, the business manager gets a piece, the manager gets a piece, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, like it's all this like sustaining machine where like we establish a certain rate so that it can cover all the costs of everything that it costs to run the project to begin with, right?
Right.
So I can't just be like, oh, friend of mine who's in this other band, let's do a show together. It's like, nope, got to turn on the whole engine. Okay, we're doing this show. Oh, wait, we have another show 2 weeks later and there's a radius clause, blah, 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 blah. Like there's all this formality that goes along with this project because this project has been developed over the course of 10 years.
Right.
So what I wanted was like a cool outlet to just have fun with my friends and just be able to be like, yeah, I'll totally take that show tonight at 9 o'clock and just Venmo me.
Oh, perfect. Right. And by the way,
You know,
it's 4 in the afternoon. Sure, I could be there tonight.
Yeah, I could be there tonight. Oh, so-and-so dropped out? Neat. Yeah, I'll be there.
So
Versus I call my agent and he's like, well, you have a show on Friday and you can't play any public shows until after that show on Friday. What are you doing? What are you doing? You know, like, I don't even have to mess with that project and I can still get this cool like outlet and still just kind of like be a person in my community.
So are you just bringing a Mac with you or what are you bringing with you if you DJ?
I use an iPad.
Okay, or even easier, right? And then they'll they'll have the turntables waiting for you there, right?
Yep.
Scratch. Technique? What
Actually, I have my own turntables. I use that one right here. Can you
see
it?
So the newer style, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because it works the best with the iPad.
Well, that makes sense. Well, very cool.
Yeah, it's like a special iPad edition.
Right. So let me ask you this: when people want to find you, where are they going to find all your stuff?
My website is a big hub for that.
Okay, so JackieVenson.com is that? I forget. It is.
Yeah,
right?
and I also have that's it, and then also my Bandcamp, which is just Jackie Venson on Bandcamp.
And Venson, by the way, hold on. Venson is Venson because I want to make sure people spell it right.
Yes, V like victory.
Yep. There you go. And no Q in your name. You don't have one of those kind of Jackies. You have J-A-C-K-I-E.
Yep.
Right. All right. I gotta say, I've had such a fun time with you. And it sounds more importantly, it sounds like you're having fun.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, I'm just kind of doing things as they come. You know, like you do things and then you get ideas to do new things. So then I chase the idea and I do new things, and it's cool. And it keeps on changing and growing and evolving just because it's alive. You know, it's like when you have a kid, you know, they start off as like this glob and they can't really do anything. And then you teach them how to do a few things and then they just keep growing and they just keep going in that way. And then one day you're like having a drink with them.
Yep. Yeah. I was just gonna say, and then they're drinking
You
in my
know, like,
basement. I mean, they're drinking in somebody's basement. But
or one day
yeah.
you're drinking with them and you guys
Oh,
are having a
absolutely.
conversation about your jobs or something or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's just really cool to put this music in motion and see where it goes. It grows legs and it goes somewhere, and I never know where it's going to go. And it's like endless excitement.
Well, I like the fact that you have a lot of positive energy about your creativity. I think that's great.
Well, I only established that by being independent. It's the only way
That's
I can do it.
and that goes back to way back at your 5 points, right?
Yeah, I hate having a boss. No
Yeah,
bosses.
that's perfect. That's a perfect way to end it. We are anti-boss on this show.
Yes, I am anti-boss. I'm only down for multiple bosses,
Perfect. Well,
not one.
perfect. Well, have a wonderful night, and I gotta say, this has been a lot of fun.
Indeed, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.